Well, hello, and welcome again to Pieces That Pat Paints. I am Pat. That is the current piece we are painting. We paint a lot of different kinds of pieces, so it's not always the same thing. We don't always paint the same stuff. Sometimes we paint other things. So it's like sometimes it's little miniatures, sometimes it's sculptures. Eventually, I think we'll probably even get into painting like like actual paintings or drawings or something like that. Anyway. But this is the guy we're working on right now. His name is Malaketh. He's from a game. I've actually played this game. I have seen it. I've watched it a few times. So I've seen this game, but I have not actually played it. So, it's a little interesting. It's fun. I've watched the animations several times. And I feel like I'm getting better at figuring out all his little parts. This dog is about to come back here and drive me nuts, so I'm going to have to go let this dog out right as soon as I started this show, because that is how this goes, because this dog is crazy. You couldn't have picked a better time here, huh? Anyway, alright, I am back. So, she's going to stay out there for an hour now, though. She'll have to wait till I get done. Alright, so, we're going to pull him off. We better take his head off, too. Put it over there. I have a little box they put him in now, just so it doesn't go rolling around. I would hate for it to go roll around now and get broken, and you never want to, have to start trying to paint a piece after you broke a piece off of it. It's halfway done painting it, and it's just a nightmare. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody. Okay, there's probably somebody, but there's always somebody who wants to do some weird something. There's always that one person. So anyway, besides that one person, nobody, and I mean nobody, really wants to do that. All right, goes back over there. Oh, we probably need to strip this out, actually. This is probably old paint, too old for us to mess with now. The paint is. We're going to get rid of it. We'll just start up another one real quick. I like to shade these out in between rounds, because they can kind of grow a mold. So I kind of like to pull them out in between uses and dry them out. I also like to put a little this is alcohol, so just put a little alcohol in it just to kill anything that might be growing in there, mold or whatever. You never know. Things are strange. Even if you're using potable water or whatever, it can still have some sort of an effect. So it's good to clean your wet palette out every now and again. Like I said, simple alcohol, a little bit of let it sit for a second, and just a little bit of wipe out. You don't really want your alcohol sitting in there when you get your paints in there, because it can affect your paints. You might want to do that. You might want the effect that happens, but I would definitely recommend that you experiment first before you just go and throw alcohol in your paints. Be that isopropyl alcohol or, rum. Whatever. Rum. That's funny. That was a good one. Every now and again, I'm clever, I suppose. These are fun. I know. So, all's good on my son's little scans. That's why we didn't have a show yesterday. For anybody who was wondering why we didn't have a show yesterday, I should have made a little post, but I didn't, and, now we're here. But all was well. Everything went well. For those who don't know, my youngest son, had a cancerous brain tumor when he was 2 years old. I won't go into too much details about it. He's fine now. He survived. Everything is good. But about once a year, we go and they check him out, and they just kind of make sure that he's okay and that everything looks good and there's no more cancer, and yeah. And they get a bunch of information, which to me seems like the best part about it, you know. Yeah, I guess these shows are about exposing a little bit of your personal life. So, whenever your kid gets cancer, and a dog gets cancer, it's one thing. You're like, oh man, maybe I smoked too many cigarettes or whatever. And there's just a little bit of like, I don't know, it's easier to kind of like find some sort of meaning and purpose in all of it. When like a little kid gets cancer, it's so weird because it just feels so pointless. And so we like participating in the clinics, you know, even if it is like kind of a pain in the butt, and it's in the middle of the day. It always is. But like the data that they're getting, maybe the data that they're able to get off of it is going to help make sure that they can treat kids easier and faster and better. And to me, that seems like something worth doing. So it's, you know, it's not always easy to get the child to want to go do these things. But when you explain it like that, he has a better understanding of things, and he's like, oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Because, you know, he experienced it. He was the one that was there. He was the one that was sick. So he doesn't really want somebody else to have to go through it because he knows what it's like. So you put it in those terms, and he gets it. All right. So all that's done. Got ourselves a new wet palette rolling. We're not necessarily going to need that for the armor wash, but if we get around to working on this sword, we're going to need it. So I'm going to pull this page out, but we're not going to put it on there just yet. We're gonna wait for just a minute. Anyway, it's not a beer, I promise. It's another one of these sparkling waters that I'm addicted to. It's better than the soda pop I drank that routed all the teeth out of my head. So, drinking sparkling water seems like a lot better idea. Anywho. All right, so what we are going to do is we're going to take our wash here, and this is just a pretty easy stuff. You can make, it's an oil paint, and you can make this with, I use like mineral spirits or paint thinner, and then you can always like put more mineral, it depends on how shiny you want it. If you want it to look more shiny and less grimy, I would use a paint thinner. If you want it to look more grimy and less shiny, then use mineral spirits, because it's going to break down the paint and it's going to make it look grimy. So it just kind of really depends. Like you can kind of, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can kind of see on the inside of this where it's all kind of grimy looking and broke down. And that's, you can see my color, my hand through it. So that's kind of, I want this griminess on this metal, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to make this armor look like it's dirty. And that's why it's so black. And so one way to do this is with this wash. I'm going to try to get all, or at least some of this stuff, worked into the mineral spirits that are at the bottom. But if you want it to be black and shiny, where it's going to look more greasy and less grimy, then you would want to use like a paint thinner for oil paints, because that's, and just thin it down and make a wash that way. This one, it's designed to be like dirty and grimy and gritty, and less of the greasy. But you know, I mean, if I were gonna try and do, like on the Millennium Falcon, that's done with paint thinner, so that one's more like a greasy. I have a big old Millennium Falcon over there. You can't really see it anymore, but it used to be in view, and I started tilting the cameras around. Now you can't see anything. But anyway, there's a big old beautiful Millennium Falcon over there, and it's got grease stains on it from the mechanical parts, and so I used I used paint thinner to make that greasy mess. Just the end of that greasy mess. All right, so super easy. We just put this stuff on here. That mineral spirit is really going to let it roll real well for us. It's not going to want to stay anywhere but cracks and stuff for the most part. We'll get a little bit of coverage on the rest of it like we want, but it really, this stuff loves to find your cracks. I wasn't gonna say it, but then I was like, man, that's actually kind of funny because it does kind of love to find your cracks. Okay. And this is really, really, really going to help us get that darkness to that metal. So it's going to help it look extra black. It already looks like a pretty dark metal as it is. This will really drive that whole thing all the way home for us. You can even see it, like as soon as it starts hitting. You can see it finding the cracks. And it'll come off pretty quick if you get to it. And don't let it sit. And it takes a while for it to dry. Honestly, it's not even about being quick. I shouldn't say that. I mean, you can't let it sit forever, but you don't have to be as quick as you do with, like, your regular paint. Because, you know, A, it's a wash, and B, because of its properties with the mineral spirits, it's just going to run real well. Find the grooves, and now I'm just losing my train of thought. These live vlogs are always a little odd. They seem to be more odd when there's nobody on to talk to, but I think I'm starting to get used to the kind of talking to myself per posterity, I suppose, is the way you would say this. It's interesting. I do find it helps me stay motivated. Like, to be seriously honest, I really was not feeling paint today. I was feeling kind of lazy. I was like, man, I do not want to do that today. We had a crazy storm here last night. We all had to get up in the middle of the night and hunker down into our bathroom, which is the safest place in this house for when a tornado comes. And we live in Oklahoma, so trust me when I tell you that bathroom is the safest place in this house. We Okies, we all know. If you're the type of Okie that wants to know what the tornado is going to do and where the best place to hide is, you know where that is. There's plenty of Okies that's not their shtick. They'll get in a truck and they'll go chase it. I swear to God they will. But the rest of us that don't do that, or maybe don't do that anymore, we definitely know where the safest place in the house is. You get that when you become a child around here. You just get that education, you know. You want to be here and you want to be there. And they're always talking about it. Anyway, I was up way late, and so now I'm kind of tired from it. I'm trying not to rub on this. But the show helps me, my point, the show helps keep me motivated. It helps keep me saying, oh, I gotta get on here and I gotta do my thing so people can see it. Oh yeah, that looks magnificent. So that's really, really drop it in there nice. Really gonna help us differentiate and separate out a lot of this stuff. So, and then we'll, like I said, we'll come back and we'll rub off some of this excess. Hopefully I'm not rubbing off too much of it as I'm doing my thing here. And then once we do that, we'll come back through and we'll either highlight things up that need to be re-highlighted or reapply wash if we need to. And that's the idea. Oh, I should turn on this music. I always like, I get to where I'm like, oh, turn on music. And I always forget, and I get started, and then I'm not thinking, and blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Try Old Spice shampoo.
Of course, now we gotta listen to an advertisement. To get to the free stuff. Guess I should buy one of those programs where you get to have access to the different sounds for videos and whatnot. Maybe that'll have some music on there I can play. I don't know. You get the royalty to a lot of different stuff, so maybe so. I was looking, and this handle is definitely the same color as that, so we can also paint that when if we get it to that sword today. This seems so wild to come back and make all this so dirty after we did all that work to it, but it's just part of the game. It also looks a heck of a lot better once it's all said and done. Especially for this character, because his armor is supposed to be really dark. Like, it's black for the most part, but I didn't want to make it completely black. Because you can't pick up, black won't pick up light quite the same as another color that's close to black. Black paints just don't do the same. And there's so many of these little tiny details, pits and stuff like that in his armor that I really felt like would be beneficial to go ahead and add this wash to it. Okay. You can see how it's really darkening it up, though. Really makes it nice and blackish for us. And even on these parts here where it's the bronze, it's really going to help a lot of these details kind of come to life for us. And good things about having these washes, knowing how to use them and where to use them, and how to make them. Like, making them super easy. So, like, there's almost no reason to buy wash. That's ridiculous. I should put together like an official recipe. How, as a chef, I should be able to write one. So I should put together like an official recipe for our 2 types of armor wash, or 2 types of metal washes. I keep calling them armor wash. That's what we called it back in the day. It's not necessarily just armor wash. Like, you're going to use this for any kind of metallics, any kind of machinery, anything like that. And it's going to give it that grime. It's going to, just going to make it look a little bit more dirty. Okay. And with the properties of the oil paint and the mineral spirits, makes it to where it doesn't dry out so quickly, so you can get to it and work with it. Like, I can get all this done, and I'm still going to have time to come back and be able to work some of the excess off. And if it doesn't come off easily, you can always just put a little mineral spirit. See, there I made the big old mess out of that paper. Add a little mineral spirit to your makeup sponge, and it'll help take it off. Just be careful rubbing too hard with mineral spirits on it. You can take off the paint you already put on, and not just the wash, but like the paint, which that'll ruin your day real fast. Don't want to do that. All right. I think that's everything except for the sword. This looks like it needs to add another once over. Maybe it wasn't done at all. I don't think that was done at all. So it's a good idea to stay organized and kind of work from one spot to the other. Keep an eye on what you're doing. I say all the time, pay attention. Pay attention. And don't buy expensive oil paint for this. Buy cheap stuff. It's already trying to take up some paint right there. That's weird. It's reacting to that gold a lot more than it reacted to anything else. We'll have to come back and touch this up. We might even have to go so far as to like take off a little bit more of this paint. Maybe it was a bubble in the primer because it went all the way down to the primer. That might have been a bubble in the primer that I missed or didn't notice. Sometimes that can happen. If your primer gets a bubble in it, you can, like, your paint can get stripped off. Okay. Now, like I said, now we're going to come back through and we're going to rub off a little bit of this excess. And with these guards and stuff like here, we're probably definitely going to come back and redo them. Not redo them, but we're gonna re-highlight them. As you can see, it kind of pulls a little bit of this off. Well, I don't know. You might not be able to tell on camera. But it pulls that, you're pulling off that excess. You can see how much dirtier the sponge is getting. So you can tell it's bringing the excess off of there. Which is what we're trying to do here. And it's also going to kind of like smooth out any places where maybe it's collecting wrong or something like that. So we might come back and reapply some highlights. But we want to make sure that we're going to have some of that color popping, or some of that darkness in it. Oh, I don't know why I'm working there, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it now. Put a little extra on there. That's okay. It was a little silvery looking. We'll just say that. Make ourselves feel better about it. Any place where it's pulling up too much, or maybe we got just a little too much, or we got it somewhere we didn't want it, we're going to use this sponge to just kind of pull that off. It's also going to help it dry a little faster. So it gives us that chance to go ahead and look for any places where maybe we missed, or we need to do a little bit of a reapply. Yeah. And now that armor. Hey, it's Bill. Hey, Bill, how are you? That's a big model. Looks like you're making progress. Yes, sir. This one was huge. He's, let me get it all together. It's for a game called Elden Ring. And the client has commissioned me to do a lot of these pieces for him. So there's his head. I don't even know if we got enough room to be able to see him in the whole picture. Get that out of here. Yeah, it's huge. It's a big model. He stands up. He's almost about a foot tall. I mean, it's every bit of 10 inches. This top of this hair might be a little bit over 11, but it's a tall guy from base to tip. It's big. All right, so like I said, we'll come back tomorrow. We're gonna let this set up a little bit, and it is having some reactions back here. It may just be me rubbing on it though, but we need to put him down and let it dry. Quit messing with it, or else it's gonna cause us a problem. So since we gotta make a backtrack, we're gonna be able to handle him. Let's work a little bit on getting his face finished up, because we have not done his face yet, or his face mask with the dark silver. So again, this is a dark silver from Pro Acryl. Great product, really. It's my first Pro Acryl paint. I'm very picky about paints, and so it's hard for me to branch out. But everybody's been recommending Pro Acryl, and I was like, okay, fine. I'm gonna try it, and we're gonna see. And I believe in Pro Acryl now. It's very good. It's very good paint. I don't think it'll replace my entire line or anything. I still have other paints I get from other places, but sometimes it's good to find a new material and use it. Okay, so I put that right on my sponge. I never did put a thing down. Look at me. I'm being a goober today. I'll put that underneath. The water will keep it from setting up too much. It's not like I haven't stained the crap out of this thing anyway. See, it was from not getting that sleep from that tornado last night, I'm telling you. It was right in the middle of the night too. I had just fallen asleep. I had tried to stay up because it was they've been talking about, oh, there's gonna be a tornado, there's gonna be a tornado, And in Oklahoma, you're always like, okay, yeah, tornado, yeah. I'm gonna try and stay up. We're gonna watch it. And we're gonna make sure, and then we'll just see. About 11 o'clock, I guess, I was like, man, okay, it's done, because they said it would be over by 11. There was still some rain coming, and at the time they weren't terribly worried about anything on our end. It was all up north. So I laid down, and I had just fallen asleep when the sirens went off and our phone started banging, and I was like, oh crap, that's a tornado. And so we had to get all the kids and get them all in the bathroom to hide out in the hidey hole, and memories. But boy, it does make you tired the next day. I'm all sorts of cranky and sleepy. Well, I'm not cranky, just sleepy. I usually don't get cranky when I go to sleep. I get hungry. When I get hungry is when I get cranky. Although some people probably tell you I'm cranky all the time. Alright, so we're just taking these right up to the edge of those lines and then bring it down. Try to keep your brush strokes tight. I know when we're edging, or we're coming up to an edge, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Then you can always just reset the strokes. So I came that way, and now I can just set the strokes, because all the other strokes are going the same direction this way. Same thing with this. I can make that little curve, right? And then I can tighten it up from there. And that way you're getting to that edge like you want to be, but you're also able to tighten up your strokes afterwards. So don't be afraid once you get it set on, you get your paint put down, to go ahead and tighten it up. This is the one that's got that more unfortunate, one side printed really, really well, and the other side just didn't quite give us as much to work with. So we had to kind of make up, a little bit of it. Luckily, it's going to be sitting on a shelf. It's not a piece that's going to be viewed closely all the time. So we should be able to just add these few little detail pieces, little blurb pieces, and it should look great. It'll sell the model, and anybody who looks up close, because our client knows what we're doing, he watches the show, he'll be able to explain, oh yeah, no, this is what they did, and yeah. Which in my opinion is the coolest part about being able to have your stuff painted on the show. You know, I give that as an option. You don't have to, but because I want to have everybody's permission to paint their objects. Some places get really crazy about it too, like you can't. They don't want you to show anything that they've got. Some clients, but most of the time on those clients, it's like bigger jobs for more corporate type entities. I never really understood why. I probably don't actually care, which is probably why I don't understand why. I never bothered to really listen or ask. Whenever I'd done work for other, like, people who don't want you to show their stuff, the corporations and stuff like that, it definitely is a, yeah, I don't care why. Your money's fine, you're just going to spend. I'll just do whatever you want, and you can take it and do whatever you like with it. We did a lot of sculpting as a chef, a lot of fruit sculpting and carving, and some airbrush work for like cakes and things like that. And then we started getting clients for this, and that's been fun. It's been fun to have a studio and grab clients so we can do work for them. Hopefully we can continue that trend. I thought I had us another project coming, but I think we got priced out again. That happens to us a lot. I'm not cheap. So if you want my work, it definitely costs a little bit. But I like to think I'm reasonable. Oh shit, kind of glad I found your stream. Hey, thanks man, I appreciate that. Yarku? Hope I had that right, I don't know. Here, yeah. Check out the rest of him. He's currently drying. We just did a wash on his armor, and some of it started to rub off the paint, so we have to let it dry before we can kind of hold him. But there's that part, and he sits on one of the pillars. If you've played this game, he sits on this pillar. So this is his base, and he'll sit on this. It's a pretty crazy model. It's been a lot of fun to learn how to play with it, and to learn about the game. I never played the game. Being honest, you're the only one that said that like that. Oh, I don't know if that's good or bad. I try to pronounce the names. Yarku. It looks like Japanese, or maybe could be a type of Yiddish, but I don't. My language skills are not what I wish they were. I wish I spoke a lot more languages than I do, but I only speak like 3 or 4. In my opinion, it's good. All right, I like that. Thanks. Well, thanks for stopping by, man. We're definitely gonna try to get this head done up today. My show is usually about an hour long. And sometimes I'll go a little longer if I'm like right in the middle of something. And sometimes I'll go a little shorter if we're not. But yeah, I stream every weekday, 1 o'clock Central to 2 o'clock Central. Standard Time. Unless, of course, like I said, I have, you know, everybody has things that happen in their life, so there's always times you're not on. I'm not on, but oof. Well, that'll make your lip pucker up. So again, the key is just get it on there clean, close to the edges, and then worry about cleaning up your strokes. Oh, well, I worked in a kitchen. Yar says 4 languages is something, and I don't speak them fluently. I speak like enough of them to like communicate in a kitchen. I was a chef before I retired and started doing all this. So like I know enough French, enough German, enough Spanish to like communicate to other chefs about what we're talking about. But like I couldn't sit down and have like a long conversation with somebody about the weather in Persia or whatever. If it was food stuff, I could talk. But if it's not, I get lost sometimes in what they're saying. Especially the French. The French talk so fast. Spanish speakers do too. The Spanish speakers can go really fast, but French goes so fast. And I know a few words of Italian. I know what faster means. That's andiamo. They say andiamo. That means you need to go faster. I remember that. I worked for several Italian chefs, and they would say that to us all the time. Andiamo. It meant go faster. Oh wow, I know. It says I know 2 and speak them pretty well. That's sweet, man. That's really cool. Learning languages is really, really, really neat. Being fluent is even cooler. Like I wish I was better with the languages that I kind of know. Because I really think that it's neat to be able to be multilingual. Our ability to communicate the way we do is so, it's so cool. Like, he says, like, I kind of fully mastered. That's awesome, man. Congratulations, brother. That's a lot of work. Or sister, I don't actually know if you're male or female. Or does it matter, really, honest. But, yeah, man, that's really cool. That's an accomplishment. Not everybody is able to do those sort of things. Heck, around here, some people can't even speak English. English and Arabic, that's cool, man. Arabic's so pretty. A couple of my friends are, they're from Iran and Iraq, respectively. And they have some great music they listen to that's in Arabic. I don't understand anything they're saying, but God, it's beautiful to listen to. All right. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, we're going to have to come back with this. We're going to have to put that wash on him. Hopefully that other side's dried up for us so we can start handling it. Arabic is my first language. Oh, cool. Right on. Well, I like that, man. Yeah, English is definitely my first language. And the one I speak the best. I took 2 years of German. So I guess German would be my other one that I speak okay. But I have spent more time with Spanish because we have a lot of in Oklahoma there are a lot of Hispanic speaking folks that work in kitchens. So you really had to learn how to speak well, especially if you wanted to communicate with them and get them to do things your way exactly. Because if you get down and you speak their languages, then anybody really doesn't. It's all cultures. People are just more apt to do what you're asking to do if you ask them in their language. Hey, Bill's throwing some Arabic in there. Look at him go. Bill's a pretty sharp guy too, man. You can tell he's very worldly. So this thing I'm putting on now is our wash. I use called armor wash, but sometimes I actually don't read or write it. That's all right, man. You made effort. Sometimes effort is important. And my mom's half Lebanese. Oh, he's half Lebanese. Well, there you go. I love Lebanese food, man. As a chef, like, man, I will tear up some Lebanese food. I only speak a few words, food and swear words. Yeah, that's... Isn't that what everybody learns first? Like, I want to eat this thing, and then I want to cuss. I swear. That's what everybody tries to learn when they learn a language. That's the first two things. All right. Okay. So this stuff that I use here, this wash, is, like I said, it's super easy. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, and it's an easy thing to make on your own. And definitely don't buy your washes, folks. Don't buy your washes. This one is it's a mineral spirits and oil paint, so it makes it grimy. If you want it to be more like a shiny wash, then you'd want to use a thinner. I think I have one. You can just buy an old Testers. This one's fine. Something like this. This is just an enamel thinner, and you just use an oil paint and a thinner, and it will retain some of its glossiness because you're thinning. You're not breaking down the chemical itself per se. But if you want like a shinier wash, that's how you do that. Get an oil paint or any enamel paints. Okay, so yeah, appreciate that. Okay. Now, that's a lot. All right, so see how it's starting to really find those cracks for us. Really bring out that. Now it looks old and. Ooh, I hit my camera. So it's looking old and a little bit decrepit, which this whole universe for this game is like that. Everything is kind of old and a little bit decrepit. So we want to play on that. I gotta find my bronze. What did I do with that paint? I just had it in my hand this afternoon or this morning. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we'll work on the sword. Okay, so one of the things I want to try to do with this sword, I'm going to bring up a little bit of this red, just a little bit more. We're going to try and make the black parts of the sword look more like stone. Might not be able to finish this today, but we're going to give it a shot. So that's a little bit of our crimson, and then there's the bronze I was looking for. Nothing's in its holder it's all spread out. I had pulled a bunch of stuff out to look at it, and I didn't put it up properly like I usually do, and so now it's all spread out, and I'm paying the price. I should have put my stuff away better. So anyway, here's a little black. We're gonna get white. Alright, so with a stone, we kind of want to... We're going to make this gray, but what we're going to do is dry brush it on there, and then we'll come back and we'll fix the reds. But first things we need to do is any of this sword we may have accidentally dipped in the paint here. You can see we have dipped this into one of the paints that was on the palette. So we're going to go ahead and get that tip back to black before we get started. See, it's got a little bit of white on this side. Looks like bird droppings. That bird came by and went. Okay, so back to black on the tip. And then we need a dry brush. Again, I have this specific dry brush. You don't necessarily have to have a specific dry brush. You could use, you know, something like this that's an old frayed brush. You could use this instead. But what I really like to do, I'm going to take a little bit of white, I'm going to take a little bit of black. I'm just going to kind of steeple them together a little bit. And then we're just kind of dry brush these edges just a little bit. We really do not want to put a lot of color on this. And remember, it is going to fade a little bit, so it will lose some of its grayness. It'll come back to the black a little bit more. Says, let's see. By the way, you can meet that guy before fighting. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Like I said, I didn't play the game. I'm an artist for hire, so like I do commissions. I did a Radagon already for the same game, and then I have a Melania to do next. We'll be doing Melania after we finish this one. If I don't do a break, I might do a break piece in between there. Sometimes I have to do something else just to kind of, I don't know, clean my brain out a little bit. Especially with this one being so large. This was such a large piece that I may have to take a break and do a little bit of another piece for just a second. Again, we want this to stay. He wears robes that cover him completely. Yeah, I watched the animation where it gets started, and then he like takes the shard of the Elden Ring or something, and then he jams it into his hand, and that's what actually turns him in, or rebirths him into this thing. It's a really neat game. It's really well done, graphics wise. It's got the art style of it is so unique. That particular studio does a lot of different games, and they're all really stunning visually. It's like watching moving paintings. Or like empowering himself. Yeah, that's a good way of stating it. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Empowering himself. Yeah, he's death become my blade once more, I believe is the line he says. So anyway, that little bit of, again, you're not really even going to notice this because it still looks mostly like it's black. But that little bit of gray, and it'll tone down even more by overnight once it finishes completely drying and setting. Is really helping a little bit. Oh, there's a little here. It's helping the black kind of come to life for us. Now with a red here, we already got this started, but this red that comes out of here is kind of like light. So we really want it to be the darkest, deepest reds down the bottom. And then we'll bring it up out just a little bit, like it's shining on it. But we definitely want this center to be bright red. He says you can do his quest, but the quest is in question just giving him a lot more, or a lot of one specific item. Okay, I see what you're saying. So like you have to get him these specific items to do the quest. I see. My oldest son is really into the game. When I got this project, he got geeked out about it. He showed me the fight and a few of the other little things, but I have so many things going on. I barely have time to play games. There's more, but I think... Oh, yeah. There's so much to it. You're right. There's like... The guy who I'm doing these for, the patron for the art pieces, like, he knows tons about this game. And even he's like... He has to like take a second and think about it, or he has to go find the information and send it to me, or... And it's a lot. It's very detailed for a game. People talk about, you know, lore in movies and stuff, but like some of these games have this insanely deep lore. These are video games. We're not even talking like a role-playing game or anything. You're talking about like a tabletop game, like Dungeons and Dragons or something. You're literally talking about a video game, and these guys put tons of intelligence and thought and time and artistry and just, it's incredible the work they do. I think sometimes it's a little easier for me to see that as an artist. I can look at something and be like, oh man, because I kind of know how much work it takes to get a project off the ground. So I got mad respect, and these pieces are so neat. All the concepts for them are so different. Let's see. And after you see, Jarku says, after you do his quest and fight him, he will sound betrayed, and the dialogue is different. Oh, wow! So like it has almost like you know, depending on how you choose what you choose changes the outcome. A little bit of agency is the proper term there. Like what you're doing actually affects the story. Makes you feel that way when stuff like that happens. Alright. A couple of these places down here at the base need to be fixed. We got a little bit of an overspray with our bronze. Sometimes we'll do that, just a little bit of an overshoot. Now when you do that, go ahead and bring that stuff up too. You saw I went that way, but then I'm going to bring it up. And that's going to help us kind of smooth that into the transition we had. Well, nothing different is happening to the story, just the little details. Well, yeah, but that's still, you know, that still gives you some of that agency. It still changes this, even if it's just a small detail. You know, some people believe that, like, oh, if a cricket dies in Zimbabwe tomorrow, that impact is felt somewhere across the world in 100 years, or, you know, whatever. But yeah, no, any kind of agency where you notice those little things are different makes another playthrough better. And from the way the game sounds, it's like getting multiple playthroughs is kind of part of the fun, because you can use your different builds or whatever. All right. See if we can't knock out this other side real fast. I got about 7 minutes, and then I got to close down for the day, and I got to go start running errands. Tuesday is my kiddo pickup day. You got a good DM voice vibe. Hey, I appreciate it. I've been running, actually been running all sorts of tabletop games for decades. My kids love Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer. And I like playing Vampire. I love running that game. Our adult game is a vampire game. I definitely had a lot of people tell me my voice was going to work out good on on the YouTube thing. So I thought I'd give this a try, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I enjoy the motivation it gives me. Because like I said, we were up way late last night messing with tornadoes and stuff. So I really didn't want to, really was kind of tired, and it's like, But then I was like, no, we got to do the show. We got to do the show. There's no reason not to. I'm just tired. You'll be fine. I'm just being a little sissy. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we're going to let him hang out for the day. I'm going to start closing down, clean this up. Pick you guys up, put you in your home. Alright. Well, let's take a look at him all put together again. Well, not all put together. There's still a cloak we have to do too. I keep forgetting about that silly cloak. Alright, so we'll come back tomorrow and we'll get finished on that main. Ooh, come here. We'll finish this main body work up tomorrow, hopefully. And then we'll be able to get the rest of that head done, and then there's that cloak piece, this cloak that goes on the back. So we'll have to do that too. I always keep forgetting about that piece. We'll get it done. It's over here with the head, so I won't forget. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Nice to see you, Bill. It was great to see you again. I know you've been off and trying to deal with the real world, so it's always nice to see you kind of drop by. So awesome. And then to our new friend Yarku, very awesome to have you come by. Great conversation. Really appreciate you, friend. Have a great day. Literally night. Yeah, I know you're on the other side of the world, so it's nighttime over there. So enjoy your evening, my friend. Have a nice little bit of evening walkabout or whatever you got to do tonight, and hopefully we'll see you back again next show or another show down the line. I'm gonna keep painting every day, on weekdays from 1 o'clock American Central Time to 2 o'clock American Central Time, unless I got something going on. Come check us out. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please give us likes and subscribes, guys. It really helps me kind of feel like people are watching, and helps me stay motivated, and it's just, it's just nice. It's nice. Anyway, I think that's all I got. You guys are awesome, and we're going to talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Oh, we'll have Kristen back tomorrow, my lovely partner in all things life. She's always here on Wednesdays to help me be more entertaining, because she makes me funnier than I am. Anyway, you guys are great. Have a good one. Thank you so much. Roll that footage, Steve.